my friends, and welcome to the second episode of the Gem Coloring Practice mini-series. In today's demonstration, I'm going to be teaching you the steps to complete a two-tone gemstone, which means that you're going to have your shadow color, which will be black for this example, your highlight color, which is white, and two colors that fade together inside of your gemstone. It's going to look like this, and for this episode, I would like for you to follow along and use the same colors so that you can have the experience of doing this practice with all of the instructions, and then you'll have the opportunity to try out different colors of your choice for the two-tone gemstone that's directly beneath it. So let's go ahead and get started. For today's gem practice, we are working on a two-tone gem. So you're going to begin by writing down today's date, and then we're going to write down our color list. Like most of these gems, we're going to be working with both black and white, and our two tones that we're going to be working with will be orange and canary yellow. Now we are going to complete another smooth value scale down at the bottom, but this time we're thinking about breaking it down into 4 sections. So we're going to start the same way where we begin with our black, just very varnished and filled in, and we're going to just bring that out so it fades right about just a little bit going into this next section. So I'm going to slowly start pressing lighter and lighter until it fades out in that section. Next, I'm going to take my orange and I'm going to go all the way back up until where I was varnishing with my black. And I'm varnishing really hard with that orange over the top of the lighter version of that black. Now I'm going to fill this in solidly, and I'm going to help this transition into white so that it just fades past that little marker. And we want this to have a nice smooth transition to white, or else we'll really notice it with our yellow. Now I'm going to take my yellow and go back to where it was lighter on my orange. I'm going to fill that in with my yellow. And then my yellow is going to transition out to white. We don't need a whole lot of white with this one, just enough to make it look kind of glowy. Before we begin, we're just making sure that all of our pencils are sharp, and we're going to draw in just a basic shape. It can be a little different from the one that you tried last class. Again, we're going to have our highlight or our sunlight coming from the bottom, and we're going to have our dark reaching all the way to the outermost part of this oval where the sun can hit. So I'm going to draw in those lines. Now our next step is to add in our highlights. So remember that we begin by adding a line that goes almost to halfway on our gem, and we're just going to draw that fairly close to the outside edge. We want to keep it as even on the outside edge as possible. And then we're going to take this and we're going to turn it into a crescent moon shape. So we're making it thicker at the bottom right here, and then they get skinnier at the ends. Now we need to add some glimmers. Maybe we'll add a couple more circle ones to this one. I didn't leave a whole lot of little circles on this one, so maybe we'll practice that more here. I'm also going to add just a couple glimmers, maybe a few out here as well, maybe some dot glimmers up here. All right, and then I'm going to break this section down so that all of these lines are sort of like leading to that center sun. All right, now our steps are going to be the same. We're going to begin with our black, but we want to make sure that we're leaving just a little bit more space than we did last class. I still think that it's helpful to at least have your black going past your main crescent highlight. So again, we're going to start our black right where the line touches that outermost edge, and then we're going to be varnishing all the way up and around, filling these in with a nice crisp edge. You don't want to have like a sketchy line on the outside of your gem. Then we're going to help this get a little bit thicker, so it's going to come out to just about the top of this crescent highlight where we're varnishing. So I'm going to just fill this in with solid black. Now that I've varnished this entire crescent shape up above my highlight, my job is now to help this lighten up and fade out to white. And we want to leave a little bit more space than we did last time, so we are actually going to help this fade fairly quickly. And I'm just taking the black and going underneath my highlight with a bit of a lighter tone. And then I'm going to go up against these edges, still working to leave those glimmers, which is sometimes hard to remember. I fill them in all the time on accident. And now I'm just going to fill up against this edge, making sure that it's a nice smooth transition. We don't want to be able to see that abrupt edge of where we ended our varnishing. So this edge, this line, needs to disappear. So I'm going to just go up against that edge and press lightly and then help this transition out. Now I'm going to go up against this edge here and I'm going to help this fade out. Now because we are fading to orange from our black, it's a lighter color, so it does show when your black isn't a smooth transition to white. So if you have an abrupt edge, or if you can see like little lines down here where it's fading out to white, you'll definitely be able to see those with the orange that we're overlaying with. So make sure that you get rid of any texture lines as much as you can before you come in with your orange to layer it. I'm also going to add in these little division lines in my crescent highlight. All right, now I'm going to take my orange, and anywhere where it's lightly filled in with black, I'm overlapping it with my orange. Now, the reason why it's important to have this much of the lighter version of black is because that's what makes the darker version of my orange. So if I don't have enough of this lightly filled in black, it's just going to start out with two colors next to each other rather than them transitioning from one color to the next. So I'm going to take my orange and I'm going to varnish up against the bottom of this crescent highlight where my black started to fade. I'm going to make sure that I'm not filling in my glimmers. And I'm just going all the way to the end of where my black was varnished. Remember that our color that we start with next can go all the way around the bottom of our gem. And we're going to varnish all the way through wherever our black was lightly filled in. So we're just going to fill this whole section in with varnished orange. Now I've varnished all the way through where it was lightly filled in with my black. Now I need to have a crescent shape of my solid orange before I start transitioning into another color. So I'm going to just fill in this crescent shape of orange so that there's more solid orange on the top. I'm just going to bring it down along the sides. And there's our solid section of orange. Now we're going to start fading our orange into white. Now it's important to have enough of this lighter color of orange because that's how we're going to transition into our yellow. All right, now that I have a large section of orange that's really lightly filled in, I'm going to go back all the way up to where I varnished with my orange, and I'm going to just overlay a varnished layer of yellow on top of that. So I'm just filling in with varnished yellow wherever I had a light section of orange. Now that I'm getting to this bottom section, I'm going to just start fading my yellow. And I don't have to leave it like with a white section, I just can get it lighter, and then I'll come in with my white and varnish over the top of that space. And when you lift up your paper, you should be able to see those shiny reflections all the way through because your entire gem should be varnished. So if it's not shiny, you're not pressing hard enough. That's how you complete the two-tone gemstone. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this episode. I hope it was helpful to follow along with these steps for our practice two-tone gemstone. Now you can move on to working on your next two-tone gemstone with the colors of your choice. So enjoy! Thanks for watching!